in Cusco, Peru. All these people that are protesting, they obviously have the right to protest, but not the way they are doing it.
So what happened is I came here to film a 3-day conference in Lima and extended my flights by 2 weeks. And then I decided to come over to Cusco. Little did I know that when I got to Cusco, a few days later, there'll be massive road blockades, there'll be a huge protest in the street. And what that means is everybody is stuck in Cusco right now. Everybody that's here can't leave, all the roads are barricaded, there's lots of demonstrations. That's because everybody's very angry at the government and the new government which has now been imposed. So what people want is fairer wages, a new government, and an end to corruption, because people are sick of the corruption here, and that's what's going on. That's the number one thing we keep hearing.
Estamos acá por un paro a nivel nacional porque se cierra el Congreso y nueva constitución, que se vaya esa usurpadora la Dina Boluarte que nosotros no hemos elegido. Así es que tienen que hacer caso al pueblo. Somos masas, somos nuevas elecciones. Queremos Perú, la nueva constitución y nuevas elecciones. Eso es lo que queremos. Estaremos luchando a que sea, vamos a morir.
¿Por qué estás aquí?
Porque queremos que cierren el Congreso. Dina Boluarte no es presidente de nadie. Se autoproclamó supuestamente.
¿Qué es eso?
Somos barras.
Somos barras.
¿Con varas?
Sí.
Allá están, mira, allá están prendiendo.
Can you give me a brief summary of what this is all about?
The president that was in the government, President Pedro Castillo, he was being investigated for corruption. And there's a lot of people that think that he was corrupt. Then is when the Congress said he was no longer the president, he was arrested, and they declared Dina Boluarte, the vice president, to be the new president in Peru. And these people is saying that Pedro Castillo should still be the president, even though for the corruption, because they don't think he was corrupt.
Nos pedimos acá nuestros derechos. Nos están robando la Dina Boluarte, que está a la fuerza como presidenta. Queremos que renuncie, queremos que se cierre el Congreso. Eso es nuestro pedido.
Estamos haciendo esto para ir en contra de todos estos disturbios. El Cusco no es esto, el Cusco es paz, el Cusco es cultura. Y si nos quedamos con las manos cruzadas, vamos a dejar más. Mira cómo está nuestro Cusco, basura, no hay nada, ya no está limpio. Esto no es el Cusco. El Cusco es cultura, limpieza y respeto.
¡Violencia no! ¡Protesta sí! ¡Violencia no! ¡Protesta sí! ¡Violencia!
¿Cuándo quieres los protestas terminando?
Que terminen ya ahora, para que podamos seguir con nuestra economía, podamos reactivarnos, que estamos pasando momentos difíciles. Están invitando a la gente a participar, a gente de Cusco, y ellos, los protestantes, no son de acá de Cusco, agresivos, violentos.
The way they think is that if you are not with me, you are against me.
Yeah.
So they do not tolerate people that do not think the same. I had my knee hurt. They kicked me on the floor just because I thought different. It's sad, scary.
What's scary about it?
You feel like you are left alone. The government doesn't do anything for the people. It's and the government, it's from the left side. The Congress is the left side. The new president is from the left side, but they are fighting within them. They think they're fighting against the right side of politics, but it's within them, and we are left in the middle. So it's sad. Hopefully everything goes back to normal.
¿Qué hacen las protestas efectivo tuyos tienda?
Nos afectan en lo que son las ventas. No hemos atendido, no hemos vendido hace 3 días que no vendemos nada.
Entonces es muy difícil para ti.
Sí.
¡Congreso golpista!
They've shut down everything. The airports are shut down. The bus terminals are shut down. You can't even get a bus ticket to Lima, from what I understand. You know, they've locked up all the businesses along the street here and everything. Everything's just shut down. The whole city's in lockdown. So we're just kind of stuck here, kind of like hostage in Peru right now. So.
No one really knows what's going on here, and you ask everyone, everyone's giving different answers. I've had 3 flights that have been cancelled now, and I've got a new one booked for tomorrow, so just fingers crossed.
¿Hasta cuándo el Congreso nos va a pisotear? Mis hermanos de Huachirco han venido dejando sus hogares, arriesgando su vida. Si se trata de morir, vamos a morir. En primer lugar, yo voy a morir por mi pueblo peruano, porque no tengo miedo. ¿Por qué? Porque amo carajo a mi pueblo peruano.
Basically, they're asking for the new president to resign. They're asking to shut down Congress. Said that the former president Pedro Castillo set free, and they're asking to have a new constitution.
Señora, por favor, tú eres mujer, no nos hagas quedar mal a las mujeres. Renuncia, no seas traicionera, las mujeres somos luchadoras. Le decimos eso al Congreso, maldito Congreso, disculpe la palabra, son malditos. Por culpa de esos malditos del Congreso estamos en la calle. Las mujeres que tenemos que trabajar estamos en la calle. ¡Cierren el Congreso!
¿Qué esperas, Dina Boluarte? Mira a la gente. ¡Renuncia, Dina Boluarte! ¡Carajo, pueblo no se rinde, carajo! ¡Vamos, vamos, carajo! ¡Pueblo no se rinde, carajo! ¡Pueblo no se rinde, carajo!
We're leaving now because it's pouring with rain and multiple people have threatened to whip us. So we're going to use this time very wisely to go and get an overpriced coffee somewhere that has some form of shelter, and then come back and see what the state of the situation is.
How long have the protests been going on for?
This now is like what, for 4 or 5 days. I don't think it's gonna end soon. Probably it's gonna continue on for another week or so before we get back to normal. That's not the right way to, to claim for things. They are destroying private property, and people like me, I have cancer, I need to go to Lima for my treatment, and I'm here now. I can leave because the airport is closed. What do I have to do with their protest? Nothing.
Crazy.
And it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
To leave is dangerous because they don't respect the human life. You know, if you're not with them, they don't care if they kill you.
Down. I mean, he and I have been friends like 25 years. Me and this gentleman right here, friends 25 years. And we supposed to come here for 3 days. We've been doing this loop in South America. From Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, and then here. But we're supposed to be here 3 days. We've been here 5, and there's no telling when we're gonna, get out of here. So
we make our living traveling, so we like to see different societies and learn from different cultures.
It just makes me feel alive when I'm traveling. It makes me feel like I'm living my life. I had my 2 best friends died about 8 years ago, and then my first cousin, who I grew up with, died 2 years after that. At her funeral, I decided, you know what, I'm done with 20-year plans. I'm now on a this-year plan. And since then, I've been traveling. I've traveled 64 countries in the last 8 years I've been in. So I'm trying my best.
We're really stressed at the moment. We're not actually able to leave Cusco. Every time we go outside, there's just like heaps of protests going on. Yesterday, I was walking back and I've heard like an explosion go across the road. So it's just a really tense situation at the moment. I've had to cancel my flights twice. So yeah, we're just all the Australians and all the other tourists, we're just trying to get out of Cusco basically.
So we woke up to another day of protests in Cusco. Last night they declared a state of emergency, which meant there was a curfew and people weren't allowed to gather. So today they've basically begun gathering, and tonight the Supreme Court rule on whether or not ex-President Castillo is going to be prosecuted for his crimes. And by the end of the night we'll have our outcome. What's going to happen to the fate of Peru and what the next part is, we don't know. So 4 days ago, Peru issued a national state of emergency in Cusco, which means that there's a curfew now between 8 and about 3 in the morning. This means that the cops have the right to be violent, to use excessive force, to do whatever they can to get people off the streets between those hours. Luckily though, Yesterday, they announced that flights are now finally leaving Cusco. So there are thousands of tourists that have been trapped here for weeks that can't get home, that can't get anywhere. One of the things that we heard was there was a bus going to Bolivia and people got stuck halfway by protesters. They stopped the bus, they didn't let them go back to Cusco or forward to Bolivia, and what they did was they just kept them on the bus for 5 days. They only had card, they had no cash, they couldn't buy water, they couldn't buy food, they couldn't buy anything. They were completely trapped in this midpoint in the middle of nowhere, and somebody actually died because they hit their head and they didn't let them go to hospital. So we've heard lots of accounts of things happening like that, so it's been pretty brutal here. When you think of Latin America, you sometimes think of political unrest, you see it on TV all the time, but for people who aren't here to actually be living through it, has been such an eye-opener to the rest of the world. For me as well, when I have no concept of this country, I came here to film a 3-day conference in Lima, extended my flights and ended up in this situation. That's how I'm here. I had no idea what to expect, but being a part of this, hearing people's stories, listening to the protesters, listening to the people that actually live in this country every day, it's clear that things need to change because everybody's stressed out. So I've got my flight back this afternoon to Lima, and then from Lima going to England.